nó ngày cũ đã nó lâu vậy em bị
về đã screenshot mau số nhung bèo vì thời tận cao vì ấy cho tăng tận cao vì dáng lùi cho lòng vậy
វាchơi chừng trong sân ai tự quay ấy lại
កន្លែង email ឬក៏ phone email or phone វាយ email មក www.bandboy តបមកទៀតចុច next មក ចូលទៅទូរស័ព្ទ Galaxy J4 មកវាឲ្យយើងចូលកន្លែង check ណាចុច tab មកចុច yes
reset and restart every time the ball goes on. Manchester City have got the players waiting deep, and the problem with playing a ball
long when you're playing against Man City is, yes, sometimes you'll play a ball long against a team and it will land back to the centre backs and you'll think we'll go press them, we'll press high and we'll try and win that ball and gain a bit of position of the pitch. But when you're playing against Man City, you're playing the ball long to some of the best centre backs in the world, who are some of the best ball players centre backs in the world, and you're essentially just giving it to another line of midfielders who just start the attack again. So it's something that has to change for Southampton. They need to try and keep hold of the ball, but at the same time you can understand why they'd be hesitant to try and play out from the back, because there's so many attacking players on that City side that can get their foot in and try and win that ball high up, and at that point you're in serious trouble against the City side.
City have won a free kick here, just inside the Southampton half. They'll take it short rather than launching anything downfield. It finds its way eventually to De Bruyne, who again has got Cancelo on the left hand side, chips a ball in towards the near post. Foden was sniffing around behind Bella-Kotchap, but the defender did well, puts it behind for a corner. It's a little bit uncomfortable. He did have a little bit of an inadvertent collision with Kevin De Bruyne over by the sideline a few moments ago, but it looks like he's okay. Just maybe knocked the wind out of himself. He's back into it as City take the corner kick short. They'll work it across. Cross finally, well, I was going to say comes in. It doesn't chip towards Mahrez on the edge of the box. He somehow managed to extract himself from a couple of challenges. Finds De Bruyne outside of the football. Comes all the way through to Haaland. His shot, though, is charged down at the near post before he can get the shot in, really, towards goal. Flipped off a defensive head and found Haaland. There's a goal elsewhere. Jacob Murphy has got a second for Newcastle. 2 goals in 8 minutes for them. They now lead Brentford by 2 goals to 0 as we come up towards the half-hour mark. Manchester City 1, Southampton 0. Kanje with the throw-in, and about 10 yards away from the corner flag on the City right. Nobody's moving. City don't really care. They lead by a goal to 0, so there's no need for them to force the game as such. As Foden from the throw-in tries to hook the ball across, miskicks it. Walker Peters gets there. Adam Armstrong will have to get there in front of Nathan Ake, which he does. It forces him at least to give away a throw-in. The ball spins off the defender and out of play for a throw-in. 68% of possession for Manchester City. Southampton with 32. A bad return for a side at the Etihad, actually, from Southampton's point of view. 1/3 of possession.
Not so far, no, but you see that stats just ticking and ticking and ticking. There's 74 passes as well that Southampton have made, but I can almost guarantee you about half of those were in the first 10 minutes when they were actually trying to play football. But since then, they're just trying to knock the ball along. They've been shook by that goal and they don't know how to react to it. But yeah, as you say, I've certainly seen worse possession stats available to teams when they've gone to the Etihad, and I've seen big sides as well struggle to keep hold of the ball like that. But the fact of the matter is that with that 32%, you've got to do more with it, and at the moment, Southampton aren't.
I'll tell you a stat that tells you a better picture of the game in a minute, but City are just on the attack for the second as they roll the ball back into defence. Yeah, the stats showing that 7 goal attempts from Manchester City, none from Southampton. That gives you a better flavour of what it's been, certainly around each penalty area. City, of course, who lead by a goal to 0. Southampton on the defensive again, but back with their keeper. Knocks a long ball downfield, but it doesn't get enough on it, and it drops back to City again with Rodri, who finds Foden, drives into the area, outside, left-hand side, shot comes in, pushed away by the keeper, and Southampton will tidy up before City can profit from the rebound. But again, there's an opportunity down that left-hand side for Manchester City, and again, it almost leads to a goal. But here comes Southampton, looking to break at the end of the field, but then Stuart Armstrong loses possession. Here comes De Bruyne driving into the area, chip ball across, oh, what a lovely finish. Phil Foden, just on the corner of the 6-yard box, Bazuna comes out, so Foden says, okay, fair enough, I'll lift it over you into the far corner, and out of nothing again, a quick turnover of possession in midfield. City ruthless, they lead by 2 goals to 0.
Yeah, such a nice finish from Phil Foden. He's on that left side. He's got nowhere really to aim at other than over the goalkeeper, and he does so well to just dink it over. It starts from De Bruyne, just plays the ball through towards Foden. He's got Haaland making a run to the right, and the Southampton defenders are too concerned about Erling Haaland. They start to drift over towards him, and it just leaves so much space for Foden. He just lifts it over Bazuna. It's perfectly chipped into the back of the net, 2-0, and it comes from, well, how many times have we said today that they need to play that, they need to stop playing that ball long, Southampton. That was the first time. As they were doing it, I was thinking, oh, they're going to try and play out from the back here. They're going to try and pass it out. A poor touch, a poor pass from Armstrong. It's lost in that progressive move up the field from Southampton. It was nice, quick football for a brief moment, but as soon as you get caught out by Manchester City when you're trying to break, it's curtains, and it just allowed De Bruyne so much space and time on the ball to pick out Foden, and a wonderful finish, 2-0 Manchester City.
Yes, it certainly is, and as you say, far too easy, but a really good finish from Foden. Look at the replay again. Not only was the keeper coming out to meet him, there were two defenders as well running back onto the line. He had to find a space in between them, and he did, right over towards the far corner. City lead by 2-0 already, 33 minutes on the clock. They're the first club to score at least 3 goals in 8 successive top-flight home matches since 1965. Yes, there was life before the Premier League, believe it or not. But Manchester City could extend that run to another game of 9 successive top-flight home games. At the moment, they already have 2. They're only half an hour into the game, as they have possession now inside their own half of the field. Ball is chipped over the top again. Foden down that left-hand side as he tries to thread it into the path of De Bruyne. It's blocked out and behind. I'll tell you what, I'll take away the criticism of Perrault, because it's exactly the same now at the opposite side of the field. Manchester City finding space after space down there right in the first 10 or 15 minutes. Now it's the same down the left-hand side, as Southampton's defence is totally obsessed by what's happening in the central position, failing to cover the wings, and City exploiting it. They have a corner kick towards the far post. Bazuna does well. It looked for a second like he got underneath it, but he stretches out as far as he can, catches it in the fingertips. Good goalkeeping from Bazuna, takes control of the situation and settles his side down, Josh.
He's actually been really impressive so far today, Gavin Bazuna. I've not really thought he's done much wrong. He could be, you know, one of the first goalkeepers to have an almost flawless game and concede 6 goals or something, because at the moment Manchester City look like they're going that way, but he's been really impressive, Bazunu, when he's needed to be, and when those crosses come in and you know that Manchester City have got the likes of Haaland in the box, as well as Ruben Diaz, Kanje Ake. You need someone to demand the box, and there's young defenders in this Southampton side, so he has to come up and sort of control that part of the pitch, and he does well. To just go back to what you said earlier about how there's now so much space on that left-hand side. They're so obsessed with Haaland in the middle, and not just that, but Walker-Peters on a yellow card now has just meant he's just not being able to cover on that right-hand side enough, and it's allowing City's left side so much space.
A rarity over the last 10 minutes as Southampton get possession inside the Manchester City half. Stuart Armstrong pushes the ball out wide, but City have had time to reset defensively, and therefore Southampton will have to recycle across the field. In fact, they'll be forced back onto the halfway line. 35 minutes gone. Manchester City 2, Southampton 0. Goals elsewhere in the Premier League. Leicester beating Bournemouth by 1-0. Newcastle 2 up against Brentford, and it's still Chelsea 0, Wolves 0 at Stamford Bridge at the moment. There's no lunchtime game, of course, in the Premier League this afternoon. The late action is Brighton against Spurs, which we're going to get on this service as well later on this afternoon after we've finished in our game. Carson Hurtle is prowling the sidelines, shaking his head. Clearly something that he's got across is not working properly. The Manchester City side, who are already 2-0 up and seemingly cruising. Surprisingly, wants to see a little bit more effort from his side at the moment. They've just switched off last 5 minutes or so either side of the goal. Manchester City now are at training ground pace, at least for the last couple of minutes. They'll have possession with Bernardo Silva, but he's inside his own half, turns back towards his own defenders. Southampton are just putting their defensive line across the halfway line, allowing Manchester City to have whatever possession they want at the minute in their own half of the field. From City's point of view, that's fine. 2-0 up. Why rush? Why rush? Why take the game to them?
Manchester City will just hold on to this ball for as long as they need to. They'll wait for someone to slip. They'll wait for someone to just switch off and not be concentrating on the positioning of their midfield or of their back four, and they'll just try and wait for that gap to open to find the ball through, and they will just hold on to this ball for as long as they like and just wait for those possession stats to tick on and tick further into the Manchester City's favour if it carries on like this.
We're still at 65-35 at the moment. I don't think that will be the case for much longer. Although City have given away a free kick here, challenged by Phil Foden. So it will be a set piece, as it were, for Southampton, but they're inside their own half, taking it. So no immediate danger at all to the Manchester City penalty area. In fact, Southampton have gone all the way back in the end to their goalkeeper and put themselves under a bit of pressure here as Stuart Armstrong again is forced back from out wide to use Bazuna again. He'll roll the ball to Salisu, corner of his own penalty area, quickly flows down by De Bruyne. They do get past the first stranglehold of this City side is coming into play now. As I said, even if you get past that little first part of the wave, the bigger wave then comes in to take you away.
Yeah, as soon as they step into that final third, or they manage to nick a ball off you in midfield, there's just a wave of attacking talent that just pounces on the ball and wants to create something, and there's so many players to watch out for in that situation when they do it, and it's so difficult. We literally spoke about it moments ago. Erling Haaland, everybody has to mark him to stop him from scoring, but it just creates space elsewhere, and if you don't and he's open, then you know what's going to happen.
Here comes De Bruyne on the edge of the penalty area into the path of Haaland. He slips for a second, he's shot, then he's charged down as he tries to get a strike in on goal. You say, if you stop Haaland, we'll just find somebody else to score, say City at the moment. Although stopping Haaland is quite an achievement by any side of this second. They've kept him at least fairly quiet for 39 minutes, and yet Manchester City are still 2 goals to the good as it stands at the moment. And Haaland with a wry grin on his face. Scored enough goals this season, doesn't need to score anymore, but he will want to, as Bazuna rolls the ball past him and onto that right hand side. Southampton again are forced to turn back, and again they roll the ball across to their keeper. Comes to the edge of his area, thinks about playing it long, but then plays it short to Salisu, but again he's immediately closed down by Mahrez. It's back with the keeper, this time inside his 6-yard box, so City's press has pushed them back another 10 yards. Then he does play a decent ball out to Walker-Peters, but his first touch is disappointing, and Manchester City could come forward if they want. Rodri doesn't want though, he wants to keep the possession up. He turns back towards his defenders, finds Nathan Ake. Rodri then gets it back to Cancelo. 5 minutes to go to the break. 2-0 to the home side at the Etihad. Dominant form at the moment. Nathan Ake is seeing more of the ball than anybody else, as he's the defensive outlet to restart possession. Get it back again here. This time Southampton have at least pushed 1 or 2 players forward to at least make him think. That's only released space behind them, which Haaland will profit from. Tries to get it out wide to Mahrez, gets a little bit too much on it though. Mahrez can't quite take it in his stride. Before the ball spins away and out of play for a throw-in. Take. Again, look at the City players immediately straight in the faces of those Southampton defenders. Managed to get the ball downfield. Che Adams with a rare touch inside the City half, plays it onto the left hand side. Challenges come in. Rebo tried to find a bit of space, and it came off the Southampton man last, says the officials. Throw in to Manchester City, but only on their halfway line. Southampton winless in 13 visits to the Etihad. So it's a 3-1 win in April 2004. There's the 2 draws in all those games as well. So long-term history against Southampton, even though the short-term history was slightly better from last season for the Saints. But at the moment, you kind of see it now, is sort of a half a press from Southampton. They're sort of coming forward, but it's kind of with a nervousness, isn't it, from this Saints side?
Yeah, it's tentative, isn't it? You have to press them when they play it around the back, Manchester City, because you can't sort of wave the white flag and say we'll literally just let you have the ball in your own half, because you know Manchester City will just do that, and they'll be happy to do that. But they're still tentative of it because they know that as soon as you commit too many men forward and you lose that ball high up the pitch, or even just in the middle of the park, there's just so much attacking ability, and as they've committed to this press, City come forward again.
Yeah, Cancelo breaking away down the left-hand side. Southampton have players back, get the ball across, it's bouncing around inside the penalty area, nobody able to get a foot on it, still not properly cleared, picked up again by Manchester City with Bernardo Silva, out wide to Cancelo. He tries to lift the ball and it's a poor one in the end, but immediately won back by City again. Foden, this time the one to try and get it across. His cross is charged down, back to Cancelo, chips the ball into the 6-yard box, headed away by Salisu, still not clear, comes off a City man last, and I think it may run out. It'll have to be played in the end by Belakocha. He does have space and time to play the ball downfield. Ake's just got to be careful here under pressure from Che Adams, but he feels the contact from the Southampton man, and Ake, professional job, goes to the floor, makes sure he gets the free kick and gets the decision. See the replay again here, Josh. Little bit of contact.
lay a hand on Nathan Ake, and it allows him to go down. It just means City can start again, and it's part of the way they play. They know when to stop play. They know when to slow things down. They're the masters of the tactical foul as well, aren't they, Manchester City? They know how to stop a dangerous attack high up the pitch, and they're just so well drilled under Pep Guardiola. It doesn't matter whether it's a makeshift back four. It doesn't matter whether certain players leave the club. If you're under Pep Guardiola and you take up the words that he says, you'll know how to play, and when they come together, they're just such a cohesive unit.
Haaland drops in deep, picks up possession, tries to roll it into the path of Foden. Didn't really get enough on it for Phil Foden, but Haaland then won it back, found Foden again. His shot on the turn this time, though, is well up and over the crossbar. He was off balance, the England man, but again, Haaland finding a bit of space and driving in. Just needed a better pass forward in the first instance. After that, really, the main chance had disappeared, really, for Manchester City, but it will be a goal kick to Southampton. They'll be happy just to get to the break at 2-0 down. Certainly won't be happy overall. Ralph Hasenhüttl, hands on hips on the sideline, looks down at the floor, shakes his head, walks across again with Pep Guardiola. More of a spring in his step as he moves around his technical area. Ball cleared downfield then from the goal kick, headed away straight away by Manchester City. Southampton do have possession back though, and Perrault has it, but again he's forced to face his own goal. As Mahrez, this one is the time to force him back up towards his own penalty area. Perrault again with possession. Again he's turning inside, looking at options. Ward-Prowse has to come backwards. They're not getting frustrated here, Southampton, which is a positive. They kind of know this is the way that it's going to be. Must be annoying when you're Southampton play. You pick up possession and then suddenly you look up and realise there's two defenders around you straight away. Nowhere to go except backwards. Manchester City, the masters of that particular art. Here comes Perrault though, with some space finally to run into, up and over the halfway line. He plays it to Adam Armstrong wide on the left-hand side. Perrault goes down the inside of him. Armstrong comes across field instead. Shot comes in from Stuart Armstrong. Finally a shot towards goal from Southampton with 45 minutes on the clock, but it isn't on target and flashes up and over the crossbar.
Yeah, it's a speculative effort to say the least. If it had gone in, it had been a contender for goal of the month, that's for sure. He sort of takes it on a half volley and is trying to get it in the top corner. And to be fair to him, it's not too far off, but it just shows that when they are patient at the back, Southampton, and they pass it around, they can work something. They tried to pass it about, they waited. You literally said moments ago they were finally being patient. They knew that they could wait, and this was just the way the game was going to go. Perrault finds plenty of space down that left-hand side, and then when it's played in towards Armstrong, it's a good effort, but not quite good enough.
Mahrez comes forward, De Bruyne on the overlap, pass is slightly overhead. De Bruyne keeps it in, chips it into the area. It's headed away, at least as far as the edge of the box, and the shot comes in from the edge of the penalty area, way over the crossbar in the end. No danger for Southampton's goal. Manchester City end. Blue seats suddenly appeared. Plenty of people have nipped off early for half-time. Could have missed something exciting there, but they didn't in the end. We're a minute into stoppage time. The home side leading by 2 goals. Zuna with the ball, but inside his own 6-yard box, which suggests there might just be one glimmer of an opportunity for either side before the half-time whistle is blown by Andy Madley, who's hardly spoken about, really. Referees have many decisions to make, and all of them have been simple so far. As Foden gets a toe end in, he'll chase down his own effort, but the defenders around. Ball is back with the keeper again for the Saints, and Zuna plays a right-footed ball downfield. Ake beats Adams in with the header. Ball spins away and comes onto the right-hand side for Mahrez. This time he's closed down by a couple of defenders, and his pass inside is wayward. Usual thing to say as far as Mahrez is concerned, but Southampton suddenly find a bit of space. Stuart Armstrong through the centre, rolls it out onto the left-hand side where Aribo has room, but he can't get a cross in. It's charged down. Is it gone behind for a corner, or is it a throw-in? We couldn't quite see from our TV pictures just for the moment. I don't think it matters anyway, because the referee, Andy Madley, has brought the half to an end. And it's Manchester City who dominated the first 45 minutes, and they who lead by 2 goals to 0.
Well, it's half-time in this game, and it's Manchester City 2, Southampton 0. The first goal came from a João Cancelo run down the left-hand side, cut in really nicely and just poked it into the bottom right-hand corner. Then Phil Foden with a superb chip over Gavin Bazunu to get the second. There's not really been much in the way of effort from Southampton. They actually only got one shot in that first half, and it came on the stroke of the 45th minute. But it remains at half-time, 2-0 Manchester City. Well, it's half-time in this game, and it's Manchester City 2, Southampton 0. The first goal came from a João Cancelo run down the left-hand side, cut in really nicely and just poked it into the bottom right-hand corner. Then Phil Foden with a superb chip over Gavin Bazunu to get the second. There's not really been much in the way of effort from Southampton. They actually only got one shot in that first half, and it came on the stroke of the 45th minute. But it remains at half-time, 2-0 Manchester City. Well, it's half-time in this game, and it's Manchester City 2, Southampton 0. The first goal came from a João Cancelo run down the left-hand side, cut in really nicely and just poked it into the bottom right-hand corner. Then Phil Foden with a superb chip over Gavin Bazunu to get the second. There's not really been much in the way of effort from Southampton. They actually only got one shot in that first half, and it came on the stroke of the 45th minute. But it remains at half-time, 2-0 Manchester City. Well, it's half-time in this game, and it's Manchester City 2, Southampton